and raised her magic wand. Cinderella found herself wearing the most beautiful dress, the loveliest ever seen in the realm.
Now that we have settled the matter of the dress, we'll need to get you a coach. A real lady would never go to a ball on foot. Quick, get me a pumpkin.
Oh, of course. I will come with the pumpkin.
The moment Cinderella ran to the garden, the fairy followed her. The mice and the birds followed the fairy. The fairy turned to the mice and raised her magic wand. The mice turned into beautiful white horses and into a coachman in a smart uniform and carrying a whip.
Now the horses are ready. We need a coach. This pumpkin. Now you even have a lovely and grand coach.
I could hardly believe my eyes.
Now you can get into the coach. Oh my, I have forgotten one thing. Your slippers.
Oh yes.
Again the fairy, with a wave of her magic wand, gave Cinderella the slippers.
Oh, glass slippers? This is the loveliest one. Thank you.
I shall present you at court. You will soon see that the prince, in whose honor the ball is being held, will be enchanted by your loveliness. But remember, you must leave the ball at midnight and come home, for that is when the spell ends. Your coach will turn back into a pumpkin. The horses will become mice again, and the coachman will turn back into a mouse, and you will be dressed again in rags and wearing clogs instead of these elegant little slippers. Do you understand?
Cinderella smiled and said,
Yes, I understand.
Fairy disappeared. When Cinderella entered the ballroom, everyone admired her. The two stepsisters, too, wondered who the newcomer was. When the prince set eyes on Cinderella, he was struck by her beauty. Walking over to her, he bowed deeply.
Will you dance with me?
And to the great disappointment of all the young ladies, he danced with Cinderella all evening.
Who are you, fair maiden?
What does it matter who I am? You will never see me again anyway.
Oh, but I shall. I'm quite certain.
Cinderella forgot about the warning. All of a sudden, she heard the sound of a clock, the first stroke of midnight.
Oh, I have to leave.
She ran down the steps. As she ran, she lost one of her slippers, but not for a moment did she dream of stopping to pick it up.
If the last stroke of midnight were to sound, oh, what a disaster that would be!
She got into the coach and somehow managed to reach her home before the clock ticked 12. The prince, who was now madly in love with her, picked up her slipper and said to his minister,
Go and search everywhere for the girl whose foot this slipper fits. I will never be content until I find her.
Don't worry, I will take care of it. The minister ordered the messenger to find out who the maiden was. The messenger went to all the houses where he gave the invitation. Finally, they entered Cinderella's house.
Can you call your daughters so that we can check?
Oh, sure. My dear daughters, will you come down here?
First, the elder one tried. The slipper was too small for her. Next, the younger one tried, but for her, it was too big.
Minister, these girls too is not the maiden we are searching for. Is there anyone apart from these two?
No one.
Please wait. Can I try?
No, she's our servant. You can leave.
No, let her try.
The stepmother deliberately pushed the messenger. The slipper he was holding fell down and smashed into pieces.
Oh, what have you done? This is terrible.
But you see, I have the other glass slipper.
The minister and everyone looked at Cinderella, who was holding up her glass slipper.
Try it out.
The slipper fitted perfectly, much to the dislike of the stepmother and her two daughters.
Hurrah-ho! So, you are the maiden our prince is searching for.
This awful untidy girl simply cannot have been at the ball. Tell the prince he ought to marry one of my two daughters. Can't you see how ugly Cinderella is?
Suddenly, the fairy appeared.
That's enough.
She raised her magic wand. In a flash, Cinderella appeared in a splendid dress, shining with youth and beauty. Her stepmother and stepsisters gaped at her in amazement.
Come with us, fair maiden. The prince waits to present you with his engagement ring.
So, Cinderella joyfully went with them. Cinderella and the prince were married in a grand ceremony, and they lived happily ever after.